Hare Krishna, would you please accept our humble obeisances? Our glories to Shri Prabhupada, our glories to Gurudeva, our glories to you. Hare Krishna. You are muted, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Gurudeva and Shri Prabhupada. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late. I was giving Bhagavad Gita class.
It's okay.
Devotees in Delhi.
It's okay. So you're welcome, Prabhuji. And if you're ready, we may put the verse on the screen so you may begin.
Okay, you can put it on the screen.
Okay.
Narayana namaskritya narachaiva narottamam devim sarasvatim vyasam tato jayamodiraya nashtaprayasva bhadresu nityam bhagavatam sevaya bhagavati uttamasloke bhakti bhavati naistiki. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. So we are reading from the SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM, Canto 1, Chapter 14, entitled The Disappearance of Lord Krishna. And today we are treating text 2. Vyatita katichin masas tata nanyat tato rajunaha Dadarsha Gora Rupani Nimitani Kurudwaha Vyatita Katichin Masas Tada Nayatato Rajunaha Dadarsha Gora Rupani Nimitani Kurudwahaya Vyatita Katichin Masas Tada Nanyatato Rajunaha Dadarsha Gora Rupani Nimitani Kurudwaha. Word for word translation. Vyatitaha, after passing. Katichit, a few. Masaha, months. Tada, at that time. Na ayat, do not return. Tataha, from there. Arjunaha, Arjuna. Dadarsha, observed. Gora, fearful. Rupani, appearances. Nimitani, various causes. Kuru Udwaha, Maharaj Yudhishthira. Translation and purport. A few months passed, and Arjuna did not return. Maharaj Yudhishthira began to observe some inauspicious omens, which were fearful in themselves. Purport. Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is ad infinitum more powerful than the most powerful sun of our experience. Millions and millions of suns are created by him and annihilated by him within his own breathing period. In the material world, the sun is considered to be the source of all productivity and material energy. And only due to the sun can we have the necessities of life. Therefore, during the personal presence of the Lord on the earth, all paraphernalia for our peace and prosperity, especially religion and knowledge, were in full display because of the Lord's presence, just as there is a full flood of light in the presence of the glowing sun. Maharaj Yudhishthira observed some discrepancies in his kingdom, and therefore he became very anxious about Arjuna, who was long absent, and there was also no news about Dwaraka's well-being. He suspected the disappearance of Lord Krishna. Otherwise, there would have been no possibility of fearful omens. Om Jnana Timiradasya Jnanan Jnanashalakaya Chakshuramalitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yukta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunastam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Swaminiti Namine Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Ashritadmane Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tirtha Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvese Sasuyavadi Pasachade Satarine Vanchakal patarubhyascha kripasindubhya ivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namini Gauratvize Namaha. Nityanando Vatundendur Vasuda Pranavalabha Janavir Jivita Patir Krishna Prema Prabhu Padmavati Sutta Srimam Sachidananda Purvajaha Bhavum Mata Jagat Rakta Rakta Gora Kelevaraha Advaitam Harinadvaita Racharyam Bhakti Shamshanat Bhaktavataram Itam Sham Advaita Acharya Ashraye Panchatattvamakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakti Shaktikam Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nama Pankajanabaya Nama Pankajamaline Nama Pankajanitraya Namaste Pankajagraye Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagaritaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopita Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Jayatam Surato Pango Mama Mandir Gatima Sarvasva Padam Bhujo Radha Mandana Mohano Divya Vrindaranya Kalpadrumada Srimadanadgara Simhastanastao Srila Govinda Devo Prishyalibi Sevya Manosmarami Shrimam Rasarasaram Vivam Sivata Tatastita Karsan Venu Swanai Gopi Gopinata Sriyestunaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Bindavanishwari Mrisha Banu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Devi Krishna Mai Prokta Radhika Paradevata Sarvam Lakshmi Mai Sarvam Kanti Samohini Paraha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Translation: a few months passed and Arjuna did not return. Maharaj Yudhishthira then began to observe some inauspicious omens, which were fearful in themselves. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum lagayate green yat kripatamaha vande Shri Guru Dina Taranam Paramanam Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Akanda Mandalakaram Vyapta Yena Chara Charam Tatpadam Dashitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So everyone is welcome to this class, SRIMAD Bhagavatam class, first canto, 14th chapter, entitled The Disappearance of Lord Krishna, and we are treating text 2. So before we go on to say something for our own purification and probably for the benefit of the audience, we seek the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis so that we can say something beneficial for our purification and probably for the benefit of the audience. So Lord Krishna has finished his business in this world. Actually, the Lord is on schedule. He is on schedule to appear in the various universes in this material world. It is unbelievable to begin to imagine how many universes we have in the material creation. Our brains are too tiny, our imagination so limited that we cannot begin to calculate or imagine how many universes are there in this material world. But as many as there are universes in this material creation, Lord Krishna is scheduled to visit each and every one of these universes. So he spends a certain amount of time in each universe. In our universe, Krishna spent 125 years. And when the 125 years were over, it was time for him to depart for another universe. Actually, it is said that with the end, excuse me, Kavichana Maharaj is calling me. So I have to just tell him in class.
Hare Krishna. Tapia says,
Hare Krishna, you are muted. You might have to unmute.
Okay, all right.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
All right. So sorry for the interruption.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Marai called me. I had to answer him. So anyway, it was time for Krishna to leave this planet. It is actually said that at the end of the Battle of Kurukshetra, Krishna's business in this realm was finished. As soon as Krishna established the Pandavas on the throne of Hastinapur, Krishna's business was over. And so when Krishna returned to Dwaraka, he was never to come back to Hastinapur. Krishna used to come to Hastinapur on regular basis. He would spend some time with the devotees, with the Pandavas in Hastinapur. But after the Battle of Kurukshetra, when Yudhishthira Maharaj had been enthroned as the king of the world, Krishna's business was over. And so when Krishna returned to Dwaraka, he was going to disappear. So Arjuna, his very intimate friend, went to visit him. Actually, Arjuna went to Dwaraka to thank Lord Krishna for guiding him through the battle. And we all know that without Krishna's guidance on the battle of Kurukshetra, it would have been very difficult for the Pandavas to emerge victorious. But because Krishna became the charioteer, Krishna became the director of Arjuna's chariot. Krishna knew exactly where to go, what to do to bring victory to his devotees. So at the end of the battle of Kurukshetra, Arjuna went to Dwaraka to visit his friend and to say thank you for his support, for his help. But he spent 7 months in Dwaraka and nothing was heard of him. Generally, when he goes to Dwaraka, he doesn't spend that much time. But this time, he overstayed. So Yudhishthira Maharaj was naturally very concerned. Why is Arjuna spending much time with Krishna? Why is he spending so much time in Dwaraka? Then Yudhishthira Maharaj began to observe some omens, inauspicious omens. And so, by observing these omens, Yudhishthira Maharaj could understand that something inauspicious was happening, because they have never witnessed those omens before. Even during their difficulties in being exiled to the forest for 12 years with 1 year incognito, even when they lost their kingdom, when they went through difficulties, when they went to Varanavata, and all those places, they didn't observe such inauspicious omens. But now that he has become the king of Hastinapur, he has become the emperor of the world, he's observing inauspicious omens. So, a few months passed and Arjuna did not return. Maharaj Yudhishthira then began to observe some inauspicious omens, which were fearful in themselves. So the omens that Yudhishthira Maharaj observed were fearful. They were sources of fear in themselves. And therefore, Yudhishthira, being a very intelligent devotee, intelligent king, he could understand that it was time for the Supreme Personality of Godhead to leave the planet. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada said, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is ad infinitum. That means he is without any limit. He is a limitless, immeasurable personality. He is more powerful than the most powerful sun of our experience. So, such a personality, automatically, his presence brings about great auspiciousness, and his absence will bring about inauspiciousness. That was the conclusion of Maharaj Parikshit, Maharaj Yudhishthira. So Srila Prabhupada is giving us the feelings of Yudhishthira Maharaj. Krishna is such a powerful person. He says even millions and millions of suns are created by him and annihilated by him within his one breathing period. So Krishna is such a great personality ad infinitum, very powerful personality, immeasurable strength, immeasurable power, immeasurable abilities. And so his presence creates such auspicious circumstances. His presence, and we see that because of his presence, the Pandavas emerged victorious in the battle of Kurukshetra. Because of his presence, the Brajavasis, they were saved from the wicked plans of Indra. Because of his presence, the Brajavasis, they were protected from numerous demons that were sent by Kamsa to disturb the peace of Vrindavan. It is said that Vrindavan is a place of bliss. Vrindavan is a seat of joy. Vrindavan is the abode of unlimited transcendental transactions. Because Krishna manifests his full opulence in Vrindavan. Krishna is Purna. He is complete in Dwaraka. He is Purnatara. He is more complete in Mathura. And he is Purnatama. He is most complete in Vrindavan. So Krishna's presence in Vrindavan was a great boon, a great benediction for the devotees in Vrindavan. Similarly, Krishna's visit to Hastinapur was a great boon, a great bliss for the Pandavas. The residents of Dwaraka, it is said that they were never tired of fixing their glance on the form of Krishna. They said they were never satisfied. The Dwarkavasis, they were never satisfied looking at the beauty of Krishna. 24 hours, the Dwarkavasis, they simply fixed their vision on Krishna. So the presence of Krishna is a great boon for the devotees in Vrindavan, in Mathura, in Dwaraka. for the Pandavas. But now it is time for Krishna to leave. He has finished his business in this universe, and he has to leave. So Yudhishthira Maharaj is observing that there were inauspicious omens indicating that Krishna had already gone. So even though Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no one can estimate the opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one can estimate the power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yet, when the time reaches for the Lord to wind up his earthly pastimes, he immediately does so. In other words, the Lord's pastimes are scheduled. They are scheduled for each universe. They are arranged. And Krishna simply goes through these scheduled pastimes. Just like it is said that even Krishna's Asta Lila, the 8 different pastimes during the day. Krishna performs specific pastimes in the morning, in the mid-noon, in the noon, in the mid-evening, in the evening, in the night. So there are different 8 types of pastimes Krishna performs during each day, and they are all beautifully scheduled. So Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one is equal to Krishna, and no one is greater than Krishna. Krishna is described as Sarva Lokaika Nayaka. He is the master of all living entities, both in the material world and the spiritual world. Nayakanam Shiro Radnam Krishna Stus Bhagavan Swayam Yatra Nityataya Sarve Virajante Mahaguna. Nayakanam Shiro Ratnam. Nayaka means the leader. Nayaka means the master. Krishna is the leader of all living entities. Krishna is the master of all living entities. And he is Shiro Ratnam. Shiro Ratnam means Krishna is the best of the heroes. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna Stus Bhagavan Swayam. He's the original Supreme Personality of God. It is the original personality. In Krishna, all the wonderful qualities take shelter. Yatra nitya yata sarve. Yatra nitya yata sarve. In Krishna are all the wonderful qualities. Virajante mahaguna. Mahaguna means the best of qualities are found in Krishna. That is the position of Krishna. He's a supreme leader. He has the best of qualities, the ocean of all wonderful qualities. And therefore his presence is most needed. His presence is very wonderful. And that is why in the spiritual world, everyone is always happy. Everyone is always blissful because Krishna is always present in the spiritual world. Krishna never leaves Goloka Vrindavan. And therefore the residents of Vrindavan, they are always with Krishna and their lives are always blissful because Krishna is the embodiment of all bliss. So, even though Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no one is equal to him. No one is greater than him. Krishna becomes the servant of his devotees. Krishna enthuses his devotees. Krishna was a servant. Krishna became the servant of the Pandavas in many, many ways. It's amazing that even though Krishna is the source of the entire creation, he's the source of the Purusha avatars. He's the source of the Guna avatars. He's the source of the Lila avatars. He's the source of the Satyavesha avatars. He's the source of the Yuga avatars. Yet, Krishna, in his greatness, he becomes the servant of his devotee. And so Yudhishthira Maharaj is already feeling separation from the Lord. He's already feeling the absence of the Lord. Having remembered how Krishna had helped them in the battle of Kurukshetra, how Krishna had shown his concern for their different circumstances, different situations they went through. So therefore, it is important for us to enter into such a relationship with Krishna. Yudhishthira Maharaj is feeling separation. He's seeing all these inauspicious omens simply because his Lord and Master, Krishna, had disappeared. And that is why Arjuna has spent so much time in Dwaraka. Normally, he doesn't spend that much time. But now he has spent 7 months and has not returned. And there's no news about Dwaraka. Of course, it's also mentioned that as soon as Krishna left the planet, then Kali Yuga set in. So actually what Yudhishthira Maharaj is observing are said to be the symptoms of Kali Yuga. in the first verse, or maybe the third verse. Yeah, in the third verse, it is mentioned people in general have become very greedy, angry, and deceitful. And he saw that they were adopting foul means of livelihood. And so in a purposeful proverb mentions that that was the beginning of Kali Yuga. So when Krishna left the planet, Krishna came in Dwarapa Yuga. And so as soon as Krishna left the planet, Kali Yuga began. And so Yudhishthira Maharaj was observing all these omens, bad omens, inauspicious omens, indicating that Kali Yuga had begun. So it is significant for us that without Krishna consciousness, we're in Kali Yuga. And with Krishna consciousness, we're in Vaikuntha. This is very important. As soon as Krishna disappeared from the planet, the symptoms of Kali Yuga became manifest. And those were seen by Yudhishthira Maharaj as inauspicious omens: greed, anger, deceit, foul means of livelihood, changing of seasons, and so many other things began to happen. So in other words, when we have Krishna in our life, we are in Vaikuntha. And as soon as Krishna is absent from our lives, we are faced with the symptoms of Kali Yuga. So therefore, a devotee prays to Krishna for his mercy. Navayam sadvi samrajam swarajam bojam api uta vairajam paramestiam cha anantyam cha hare padam. The wives of Krishna, the queens of Dwaraka, they are asking Draupadi, "Oh, saintly lady, we do not desire dominion over the earth. We do not desire sovereignty of the King of Heaven. We do not desire unlimited facility for sense enjoyment. We do not desire mystic power. We don't even desire the position of Lord Brahma. We simply desire the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna. That is our desire." So the queens of Dwaraka, who are intimate servants of Krishna, their desire is to receive the dust of Krishna on their heads. So 4 terms are used here: Samrajam, Swarajam, Bojam, and Varajam. These are the different aspects of the universe. These are the cardinal directions of the universe. Samrajya means the eastern part of the universe. Bojya means the southern part of the universe. Swarajya means the western part of the universe. And Varajya means the northern part of the universe. these different parts of the universe are controlled by different personalities. They are called lokapalas. Lokapalas or mandala parties. Lokapalas or mandala parties means governors of the universe. The eastern part of the universe is governed by Indra, the northern part by Kuvera, the western part by Varuna, and the southern part by Yamaraj. The devotees, the queens of Dwaraka, they do not want this sovereignty. They do not want to become governors of the different parts of the universe. All that they wanted is the lotus feet, the dust from the lotus feet of Krishna. That is all what they wanted. Even the position of Brahma, they don't want. All that they wanted is the dust from the lotus feet of Krishna. So one may ask, what is the value of this dust on the lotus feet of Krishna? That the queens and even the gopis of Vrindavan, they were all very eager to have. Srila Sridhar Swami, a great commentator of the SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM, says that the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna is the emblem of knowledge and ecstasy. The dust from the lotus feet of Krishna, they are conscious, they are full of knowledge, and they are full of ecstasy. So therefore, the queens of Dwaraka and the gopis of Vrindavan, they want to put that on their heads. In other words, they want to gain knowledge and they want ecstasy. So anyone who comes in touch with this dust of Vrindavan is in touch with knowledge and is in touch with ecstasy. And this was demonstrated by Akura. When Akura was sent by Kamsa from Mathura to go and bring Krishna and Balaram from Vrindavan, Akura's desire was to roll in the dust of Vrindavan. In fact, it is said that Akura, his whole meditation was seeing the lotus feet of Krishna in the dust of Vrindavan. He said while he was driving his chariot, a very special chariot that was given to him by Kamsa. Kamsa gave him the best chariot to attract Krishna and Balaram to Mathura. So it is said that Akura, he did not see anything on the right. He did not see anything on the left. He was just meditating on how to get to Vrindavan so that he can see the lotus feet of Krishna in the dust of Vrindavan, and he will roll in that dust. And actually, as soon as Akura reached the outskirts of Vrindavan, he saw the beautiful lotus feet of Krishna in the dust of Vrindavan. And immediately, Akura jumped down from his chariot and began to roll like a child in the dust of Vrindavan. And he was experiencing great ecstasy by rolling in the dust of Vrindavan. So therefore, the devotees of the Lord, they simply desire the Lord's association. They simply desire the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna. Because with Krishna, one is in Vaikuntha. One experiences a happy, blissful life. And without Krishna, one experiences Kali Yuga. And Yudhishthira Maharaj is demonstrating that here. When Krishna was on the planet, they were very happy. Despite all the difficulties, all the challenges the Pandavas went through, but they always remembered their dear friend, Krishna. And just by remembering their dear friend, Krishna, they were happy. And of course, Krishna will always come and visit them. Krishna will always come and stay with them. Krishna will always come and be with them and make them very blissful. But now, Krishna is leaving the planet, or he has left the planet. And so, inauspicious omens are seen left, right, and center. So, our Krishna consciousness movement, Srila Prabhupada says, is meant for distributing Krishna to everybody. That is this Krishna consciousness movement. Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami describes that very beautifully in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prema Pamaro Taro Priyam Shaka Rupam Bhakta Gana Krishna Prema Phala Pradam. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a tree of love of Godhead. He's a tree. And the devotees are like the branches of this wonderful tree. And the fruits on this tree are the nectar of Krishna consciousness, love for Krishna. And the devotee's business is to distribute this love, to distribute this nectar, to distribute these fruits far and wide. So, our Krishna consciousness movement is actually meant for distributing these wonderful fruits of love of Godhead to every living entity. And by distributing these fruits of love of Godhead, everyone is introduced to the association of Krishna. And by introducing everyone to Krishna consciousness, we are actually giving Krishna's association to everyone in this material world. So that is our responsibility as members of this movement, to always remember that without Krishna consciousness, the whole world is a miserable place. Actually, Arjuna made a very important statement. When he returned from Dwaraka to Hastinapur, the first thing Arjuna said was, Yashya Shana Vini Yoga, Lokohi Apriya Darshanaha, Uktena Rahito, His Isa Mritaka Prachyate Yataha. I have lost I have just lost him, whose separation for a moment would render all the universes unfavorable and void. I have just lost him, whose separation for a moment would render all the universes unfavorable and void. There is no one dearer to the living entity than the Lord. That is a fact, because the living entity is part of the Lord. So there is such an intimate relationship between the living entity and the Lord. And actually, all our so-called love in this world is actually meant for Krishna. Whatever love we express is meant for Krishna. And because it's not directed to Krishna, that is why we are not satisfied in that loving dealings in this material world. Our loving dealings are actually meant for Krishna. So, by the disappearance of the Lord from the face of the earth, devotees like Arjuna, devotees like Yudhishthira Maharaj, devotees like Sahadev, like Nakula, like Bhima, they were very, very unhappy that they have lost the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Of course, there is what is called Vapu and Vani. In the case of the Lord, there is no Vapu. There is no difference between the body of the Lord and the soul of the Lord. His presence is the same. His absence is the same. And we can just remember Krishna 24 hours. We can feel the presence of the Lord always. So, but the mere fact that they had such an intimate relationship with Krishna, the mere fact that Krishna was their intimate friend, he guided them, he directed them, he assisted them, definitely that personal association, that personal guidance, that personal direction was no more. And so the Pandavas, they were very sad that Krishna has left the planet. But by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu brought back Krishna. Mahaprabhu is not different from Krishna. And he came back to this world. He came back into this universe to give us a process that can allow us to access the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that process is this Krishna consciousness process. That anyone who takes it very seriously, he can experience the Supreme Lord, even though he has removed himself from this planet and is having his pastimes in another planet, and yet, in another universe, and to another universe, and to another universe. But we can experience the presence of the Lord by this process of Krishna consciousness. We can experience Krishna's association by this process of Krishna consciousness. So, actually, we can minimize the effect of Kali Yuga that Yudhishthira Maharaj is talking about. We can minimize the effect of Kali Yuga by increasing our Krishna consciousness. And by doing so, one can actually live in the spiritual world. One can live in Vaikuntha. Instead of feeling the effects of Kali Yuga, one can feel the effects. One can feel this Vaikuntha atmosphere by taking to Krishna consciousness. And that is the great gift that Srila Prabhupada has given to this world. And that is our great fortune, to be connected to this family of Krishna consciousness. And so we encourage everybody, we urge everybody to just remain in this process of Krishna consciousness, despite all the difficulty, despite all the challenges. The future of Krishna consciousness is bright. Our future is bright because the more we practice, the more we invite Krishna into our lives. The more we practice, the more we eliminate the effects of Kali Yuga in our lives. And the more we shall become happy in Krishna consciousness. My time is up. It's 4 o'clock. Any comments or questions? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. It's great, SRIVAS VANACARI. As always, very beautiful, wonderful class. Lots of stories. Anyone with question, comment, please, you indicate that. Okay, Shriman Vara Prabhu, please unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaji.
My obeisances.
Yeah, all
All
glory to Prabhupada.
All glories to Prabhupada. Thank you for your lecture. I have 2 questions.
Okay.
And I see you use universe and this world interchangeably.
Okay.
And I posted one video on the forum sometimes back of a young child challenging a pastor in the church to clarify whether Jesus was sent to this universe or whether Jesus was supposed to save the world or save the universe. And then the pastor became confused. Of course, later on he said this world. And so I'm just trying to see, are we not making the same mistake? Because the Veda is very clear about the difference between the universe and this planet Earth. And it's sometimes our preachers, and like you have done today, talks about this Earth just like they're talking about the whole universe. So please, you clarify. Krishna visiting the Earth, is it the same as him visiting the whole universe? Or does he visit different planets in the universe? Or does he visit only one planet and then that is considered as a visit to the universe? Please clarify this. Then I will come up with the second question later.
Thank you very much for your question. Yeah, it is said that in every universe, there is a place where Krishna performs his pastimes. So in this universe, the Earth planet, we have Boma Vrindavan, which is the playground of Krishna. So when Krishna enters this universe, he comes to the Earth planet, where he performs, where there is Vrindavan, where Krishna performs his pastimes. So when we talk about Krishna coming to perform his pastimes, it means he came to the earthly planet, and this earthly planet represents the whole of this universe. And in fact, we can see that even other personalities from other universes were coming to this planet. Brahma came, Indra came, different personalities from different planets, they came here. So, of course, different aspects of Krishna, different incarnations of Krishna are also found in different parts of the universe. Like Vamana Dev, he appeared on Indra's planet. And there are also other incarnations on different planets. That is there. But when the original personality of Godhead, Krishna, when he appears in this universe, he comes to Boma Vrindavan. And in Boma Vrindavan, which is a replica of the spiritual world, it is said that when Krishna wanted to come to the material world, he told Srimati Radharani that I want to inform you that I have to go to the earthly planet in Chaturmukha Brahma's universe. The Brahmas have names according to the number of heads or number of faces they have. Our Brahma has 4 heads, so he is called Chaturmukha Brahma. That is the name of our Brahma. So when Krishna told Radharani, I am going to Chaturmukha planet, Chaturmukha Brahma's universe, on the earthly planet, Radharani began to cry. And Krishna said, why are you crying? He said, how am I going to stay in this place without your presence? If you are going to the Chaturmukha Brahma's universe on the earthly planet to perform your pastimes, and you're leaving me here alone, how am I going to survive here? And Krishna said, oh, I cannot go without you. I'm only coming to inform you that we are going. Then Radharani said, well, if you say I am going with you, but I cannot go to that earthly planet without Yamuna River, without Govardhan, without the forest of Vrindavan, without certain facilities. And Krishna said, don't worry, I've already sent Govardhan to Vrindavan, I've already sent the Yamuna to Vrindavan, I've already sent the 12 forests to Vrindavan. Actually, he said there are 340 forests in Goloka Vrindavan or so, but Krishna only sent 12 of them to Vrindavan. So the earthly planet where Vrindavan, Goma Vrindavan is the playground of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they said in each universe, we have such arrangement. And when the Lord comes in his original form, Swayam Bhagavan Krishna, he goes to the earthly planet where Vrindavan is. And that is where he performs his pastimes. But that does not mean to say that other expansions, other incarnations of the Lord do not go to other planetary systems of the universe. They go. But the Swayam Bhagavan, original personality of Godhead, Krishna, he only goes to a place where there is Vrindavan, and Vrindavan is on the earthly planet. And so Krishna comes here only. And so when he lives here, he goes to another place where there's a similar arrangement. And when he lives there, he goes to another universe where there's a similar arrangement. So all of these arrangements are located in the different universes, and Krishna continues to visit all these universes to enact his pastimes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Srimad Maharaj,
Say one more question.
Yeah, your second question, please.
Actually, two more questions.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead with the second one.
Yes. The second one is we saw Yudhishthira seeing omens, inauspicious omens, and it became disturbed. This was not the first time. Of course, this is not the first time we're hearing about Omen.
Yeah.
In fact, even though you said that this was his first time of seeing Omen, but I think he had some other Omens in the past. I can't remember the exact, but there was also talking about Omen, about the birth of Duryodhan. There were many inauspicious Omen also at the birth of Dhritarashtra.
Yeah.
But then the other time when Yudhishthira had other Omen, I cannot recollect, but there was another instance before this. So anyway, so there are talks about omens, and that means that they are very important.
Yes.
The observation of omens, they are important.
Yes.
So I want to see what role do omens play in the life of a devotee. What role, what importance should a devotee attach to omens? Because sometimes it can be conflicting with other things, but we are seeing that the Veda places a lot of importance on these omens. So please, can you shed light on this?
Yes. Even when Akura was on his way to Vrindavan to bring Krishna and Balaram to Mathura, he observed an omen. Even though he said that Akura was so fixed and was so much absorbed in thinking about Krishna and Balaram, he didn't even see things on the road, but he saw one omen. Only one thing he saw. He saw that the animals in the bush, they were passing him from the left to the right. That is a good omen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So when Akura saw the animals, the deer, they were passing him from the left to the right, Akura understood, today is a special day for me. And he started thinking that even though Kamsa is the most evil person to associate with, but Kamsa has done something very good in his life. Kamsa has allowed him to go to Vrindavan to see Krishna and Balaram. And therefore, at that particular moment, Kamsa is his well-wisher. So it is mentioned that just by seeing those animals, wild animals passing from the left to the right, it was a good omen. In fact, I will also say that once I was with the Harinam party some years back. We went to Cote d'Ivoire to do Harinam. And then things were not as we expected. We couldn't distribute even one book because it's a French-speaking country and we are all English speakers. So we couldn't make any impact. Even we couldn't even get money to cover our cost of fuel. So we came back to Ghana very disappointed. And then in the course of returning from Ghana, somebody suggested that why don't we go to Enchi? It's a place after Takwa and beyond. So somebody said, that place is a very big city. We should go and probably do some Harinam. The words were arguing back and forth. We have wasted fuel to go to Abidjan. Let's just go back to Accra. And then finally they asked me, what do you think? I said, okay, there's no harm. We already wasted some money going to Abidjan. Let us go to Enchi. We drove all day. We got to Enchi. Just about a mile away from Enchi, we saw a group of monkeys. Hundreds of monkeys. They were crossing from the left to the right. And I remembered Akura's experience. I said, this is an indication that Enchi will be a very fruitful, our journey to Enchi will be very fruitful. And lo and behold, when we go to the office, normally when we get to a city, we go to the office to take permission from some authority, from the chief, from whatever. When we go to the office of the district administration, the district chief administrative officer was my direct classmate. We sat in the same class in the secondary school. I had even forgotten him, but he had not forgotten me. So as soon as we entered the office, he stood up and mentioned my comic name. I said, what do we want here? I said, I'm the Hare Krishna movement. I'm the Hare Krishna movement. We are preaching and we came to Enchi, so we are coming to take permission. He said, my friend, you don't need any permission from me.
Hare Krishna.
So you don't need any permission from me. Do whatever you want. If anybody tell you, mention my name, I give you the authority. So that was the first good sign. And then when we started the Harinam in Enchi, the crowd was unlimited. And the response was just wonderful. Within 3 days, all the books we carried got finished. All the incense got finished. All the oils got finished. Everything we carried finished. They even want to buy the truck from us. They want to take the vehicle from us. Everything got finished. So then I remembered that when we were entering Enchi, we saw these hundreds of monkeys crossing from left to right. So it is a fact that omens are there. Even Rukmini, when Rukmini was in anxiety waiting for Krishna to come and kidnap her, there was a twitching in his right arm, a twitching in his left ear, right arm, right ear, right eye, which are symptoms of good omen.
Auspicious.
And just then, the Brahmana entered the palace with a letter from Krishna that I am coming to kidnap you. So omens are part of the Vedic literature. In fact, there is a book on omens. There's a book, an entire book on omens. I think is linked to the Kurma Puranas. Yeah, it's linked to the Kurma Puranas, where it talks about different omens. For instance, you are making a journey and you meet a dog on your entrance with a shoe in his mouth. Don't travel. It's a sign of bad omen. If you are just about to move out to go on a journey and you meet a dog at your gate with a shoe in his mouth, is a sign that the journey will not be successful. Just stop, cancel it, and make it another time. So there are a lot of omens in that book. I've read it, some little bit of it. It's connected to the Kurma Puranas. So omens are important, but we should not also forget the Krishna factor. The Krishna factor is also there. Sometimes, even in the so-called situation of bad omens, if Krishna prevails over those omens, the omens can be converted from bad to good. But that does not mean we ignore omens. If you notice the signs and you observe them, it is good to abide by them. But sometimes situations may be very tough, that even though the omens are there, but you still have to go out, you still have to do certain things. So in that circumstance, you have to depend more on Krishna. And Krishna will always prevail over any situation, positive or negative. Krishna is the supreme positive. So when Krishna is added to the situation, even the most worst omen can be the best omen.
Thank you so much for the elaborate answer. The past time you shared about Enchi, unfortunately, you've shared that with me before.
Oh, you were not there at that time, eh?
No, I wasn't there.
Oh.
I wasn't there, but you shared it with me before.
Okay.
Yes.
It was very wonderful. It was very wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, last question.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhu.
This maybe I should reserve it for Wednesday, but because in the course of your lecture, you said something to the effect that will again provoke this debate, but I just want to note it. You may speak.
Your internet.
Yeah, internet, yeah.
As much as you want, you may postpone. You're not hearing well?
Yeah, your internet.
Is it getting better now?
Yeah, it's better now. Okay.
So this you mentioned how the living entities are so happy in Goloka Vrindavan. They're so happy wherever there is Krishna. All those who are with him are always
happy. Then how do we come here?
Yeah.
Is happy, and without Krishna means that is the question. So you got it. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, so I think I don't know if Prabhuji wants to take it, but
no, we reserve it. We reserve it.
We're encouraging devotees to be here on Wednesday because it's going to be very fascinating, interesting, and a very good eye opener also. And I'm just hoping and praying that every devotee is trying to study, because oftentimes, if we are fortunate, we read without studying. There is a difference between reading and studying.
Yeah.
And Srila Prabhupada wanted us to study his books, not just reading.
Just read, yeah.
So we hope that the devotees will be studying and then come prepared on Wednesday, because it's going to be very interesting. So on that note, Prema Samputa Prabhu, please unmute and go ahead. Whether there's a question, comment, I don't know. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Prema Samputa.
Dhanyavad.
Pranams.
Happy
to see you.
Yeah, happy to see you as well. Also. Yeah, thank you so much for the wonderful narration lectures, and in the course of your answer to Srimad Mahaprabhu about the Omen, and it just triggered my mind. I don't know, maybe 6-7 years. I was with Visual back to Deodar Maharaj in the Guru Ashram. So while I think you were there, or you went to town, and I was supposed to travel with him and Baladev Prabhu and my classmate who is a editor to one of the newspaper. So he's supposed to be an interviewer, and Maharaj and I and Baladev are supposed to drive to, I think, Metro TV. And in the morning, while he's doing his Abhishek, he felt something's wrong somewhere. And when it was an hour for us to depart from the temple, and all of a sudden Maharaj said, hey, there's some bad omen somewhere. We are going to get accident. But and I was like, my face changed. Maharaj, then we should not go. Let's stay in the house. And but he said, well, let's go. Let's go to the temple room, pay the obeisance to Radha Govindaji, and let's go. I was not comfortable. Well, as a servant, you have to follow. So what happened was that he paid obeisance. I followed the same serial, what he did. But I think Baladev was not aware, because I was with him in the room. So I was aware of this. And we sat in the car, and Prabhu Baladev was driving. And you see, Amasama police station area. We were on a top high speed, and by then, there was a U-turn. And you can see it on the highway, there was no auto, there was no car coming from nowhere. From all of a sudden, some drunkard in a taxi, unregistered car from Togo, he just did a U-turn from the other side, and the car stopped right in front of our car. And Prabhu Baladev, because we're already late, and Prabhu Baladev said, no, I don't need to swerve. I just need to hit this guy in the middle of his taxi straight to save our life. It was dying. I just saw nothing but white. And so this incident that you were narrating just clicked my mind on this Omens stuff, surrounding to the lotus Guru Krishna, then everything gonna be okay. I just wanted to share with my
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Yes.
Prabhuji, I have a question on these omens.
Yeah.
And that is, I know in every tradition, in every culture, they believe in omens.
Yes.
And it's also kind of similar to dreams. So my question is, are the omens described in the Vedic scriptures universal, or is limited to a geographical location on earth? I'm asking this question because for us as aspiring devotees, when we dream and we see cow in our dreams, we consider it auspiciousness. But people in general, in Ghana, for example, when you dream and you see a cow, it's a bad omen. It's considered a bad omen. And whereas, like if you going somewhere and you trip against a stone or something, but it's your left foot, it's considered auspicious. I mean, that is both in the East as well as in Africa also. But there are some that are opposite. So my question is, do we have like a general accepted auspicious or inauspicious omens, or there are some omens that are just limited to a certain geographical location?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. The fact is that, as I was mentioning, these omens related to one of the Puranas is a standard omens.
Okay.
Yeah. And just as we saw in the case of Akura, seeing the deer passing from his left to right, and indicated that he was going to have the mercy of Krishna and Balaram. And just as when we're also entering Enchi, we saw these monkeys moving from left to right, and everything was auspicious. So it's a general principle that if you are going on a journey and the wild animals are passing you from the right to the left, from the left to the right, is auspicious. So there are some general principles that are universal. Now, but this science of omens, it originates from the Vedas, definitely, because the Vedas is the original scripture for the world. So as it is distributed or is carried forward in the time of universal distribution of population, some adjustments are there. Some aspects of the Vedic culture was watered down, and it gives a different understanding altogether. So because of that situation, the different cultures, depending on the degree of dilution of this original culture, comes out with something either the same or different. Yeah. So there are some cases where it's just the opposite, and in some cases it's just exact. Yeah. For the case of dreams, I always say that everybody has a dream language, every person. And so you have to study your dream language. What may be positive for you may be negative for me. In some people, when they dream of stool, is abominable. And for some people, when they dream of stool, it means a lot of money is coming.
Wealth, yes.
It's wealth.
Yes.
Some people, when they dream of heap of grains, it means wealth. Some, it means debt. So one has to know his dream language, and then you can interpret your dreams accordingly. But also, as far as dreams are concerned, there are also some standard symbols or symptoms that mean the same thing. Yeah. But again, because of this dilution of culture, things have changed, or things have been diluted, the meaning changed, and so many things have happened. So we don't have that standard meaning of dreams. So that is there according to time, place, and circumstance, according to cultures. Different things represent different situations. So the Vedic aspect is there, which is standard, but based on the different cultural settings, different circumstances, the meanings have changed, the meanings have been diluted, and so we don't have exactly the same around the world, like that.
I remember when we used to go on Harinam, during those days, we had Abu, our driver.
Abu, the driver, yes.
Yeah. No,
he's still in media here, sometimes I see him.
Oh, wonderful.
When he carry a big beard, a Muslim man.
Yeah, I understand he is now an evangelist.
Yeah, the Muslim
Yeah.
evangelist.
But from going on Harinam with us, but even him as a Muslim, as a practicing Muslim, they also had this belief that whenever something, especially an animal, crosses from left to right, it's auspicious, just like you were saying.
Yes.
The Muslims, at least the Muslims in Ghana, also have this belief, which actually works for them. But my question, though, is up until the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna was relating with Krishna as his friend.
Yeah.
But at the time of Krishna speaking the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna realized that this person I've always considered a friend is actually not my friend. He is my guru. So he started relating with Krishna as guru and disciple.
Yeah.
So my question is, how then does Arjuna looking for, instead of saying, I'm looking for my guru, I can't find my guru, he's saying that I'm looking for my friend. When Krishna had left for 7 months, he said, this is too long. There must be something wrong somewhere. I have to look for him. Why didn't he say or consider that I have to look for my guru? But he still was saying that I have to look for my friend.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Actually, the dealings between Krishna and Arjuna is under the Yogamaya principle.
Okay.
Yeah. Because Krishna wanted to speak the Bhagavad Gita for the benefit of the world. Actually, Arjuna did not need Bhagavad Gita.
No.
He's already a perfected being. He's an Nitya Siddha. He's Narayan Rishi. He and Krishna are together as Nara and Narayan. So it's a Nitya Siddha. But Krishna, having come to this world, wanted to leave behind a message, wanted to leave behind instructions in the form of Bhagavad Gita for the benefit of the world. So he used Arjuna as an instrument. He put Arjuna, it is said Krishna put Arjuna into illusion. And that illusion is not material illusion. It is spiritual illusion. That is called Yogamaya, the effect of Yogamaya. So under the Yogamaya, Arjuna was refusing to fight. He was thinking, why should I kill my grandfather? Why should I kill my teacher? Why should I kill my friends? And so on and so forth. So he was thinking like this. This was due to the effect of Yogamaya that Krishna cast on Arjuna for him to behave the way he behaved, to enable him to speak Bhagavad Gita. So, but when Bhagavad Gita was spoken, Yogamaya was withdrawn. So during the period Bhagavad Gita was spoken, Arjuna saw Krishna as his spiritual master. And that's when he said, I surrender unto you, instruct me. But when Bhagavad Gita was finished, Krishna withdrew the Yogamaya. And so again, Arjuna began to relate to Krishna as his friend, because that's the eternal relationship. It's a saka.
Yeah.
It's a saka prayer, an eternal friend of Krishna. So Krishna removed the Yogamaya and then brings him back to the platform of friendship. And Krishna actually plays that game with many devotees also. In the case of Yashoda Mai, when Krishna displayed the universal form, Yashoda Mai was bewildered. Is it my son, my little boy's mouth? I am seeing the whole universe, and I'm seeing myself, and I'm seeing all this. She was bewildered. And so immediately Krishna has to withdraw that from his mind. and bring her back to the platform of Vatsalya. So Krishna uses the Yoga Maya in his pastimes, whichever way he wants a devotee to reason or to act or to behave. Krishna allows the Yoga Maya to play that role. Like even Balaram. Balaram is not different from Krishna, but when Krishna wants Balaram to play a certain role, Krishna uses the Yoga Maya of Balaram, and Balaram becomes influenced by the Yoga Maya. Even Krishna himself, sometimes Yoga Maya influences Krishna himself. So he behaves in a particular way to allow a particular pastime to take place. So for the purpose of pastime, Krishna uses the Yoga Maya, even for himself, for Balaram, for Yashoda, for Nanda Maharaj, for everybody, including his intimate associates like Arjuna.
Thank you so much. So sweet and so beautiful. It's so easy to understand when you explain it. Salika Prabhu, please unmute. We have to consider the time. Prabhu, you were saying he was coming from a class, so he must be a little exhausted.
Well,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, please, Salika Prabhu.
Thank you so much for this.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to say something.
We're not tired of hearing.
Hare Krishna.
This is a little bit philosophical. In the purport, purport mentioned bread for during the personal presence of the Lord on the head. All paraphilians for our peace and prosperity, especially religion and knowledge, we are in full display because of the Lord's presence.
Yeah.
And it went further. My point here now is that we talked about Kali Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Treta Yuga. And in the course of your lecture, you also mentioned very clearly that Maharaj Yudhishthira was seeing so many bad omens. And as we go further, also in this chapter, we see that so many inauspicious things happening are attributed to the absence of the presence of the Lord.
Yeah.
But then we have Krishna in his form as the deities present, even in Kali Yuga. And Krishna's form, Krishna's paraphernalia is the same. There is no difference.
Yeah.
So how do you now explain that this Krishna is absent? Because Krishna is present here now. So I'm finding it difficult to understand the logic in between this. So I wanted to clarify my doubt. Because Krishna is present here now.
Yeah.
And we can see him physically in his form as a deity. And his form as a deity is not different from his personal form because he has no dual form. His form is one. Please clarify, Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you for your interesting question. Yeah, but if you read, you even see that it is mentioned as one of the omens, the bad omens mentioned down in this chapter is that the deities were crying. It's mentioned that the deities were crying because of Krishna's absence. The deities were crying. So anyway, the fact is that, yes, Krishna is present in his name. Krishna is present in his, as a super soul. Krishna is present in the deity. Krishna is even present as a pure devotee. There are so many manifestations of Krishna. Actually, said Krishna manifests himself as the holy name. He manifests as the deity. He manifests as a pure devotee. He manifests as devotional service. He manifests super soul. So these are all different manifestations of the Lord. If I say it manifests in 6 different ways, It manifests in 6 different ways, just to give association to the living entities in this world. But even though these manifestations are there, but one has to acquire certain qualifications to feel their presence. Like even the holy name that we are chanting every day, there is a qualification to experience the non-difference between Krishna and his holy name. Even the deity we see every day, there is a qualification to experience Krishna and the deity. So even though Krishna is manifested in various ways in the material world, but still there is some requirements, there are some qualifications for one to experience Krishna in that form. So if we do not have those qualifications, even though the Lord is there in those forms, we do not, or we cannot feel that presence, even though the Lord is there. And the typical example is always the holy name. The holy name, we are all chanting Hare Krishna day in and day out, but we are all having different experiences of the holy name. Those who are chanting without offenses, they are experiencing unlimited bliss from the holy name. They're seeing Krishna not different from the holy name. And those who are still on the offensive platform, there's a difference between the holy name and the Krishna. So the fact is, some requirements are needed to experience Krishna in his various manifestations. And if we don't have those requirements, even though Krishna is fully present, we cannot experience the presence of the Lord in those manifestations. So Bhakti, Krishna consciousness, is actually meant to give us those qualifications so that we can feel Krishna's presence in the holy name, Krishna's presence in the deity, Krishna's presence in his pastimes, Krishna's presence in his various manifestations. So that is the reason why, even though the Lord is present in so many manifestations, but we do not feel that presence. I don't know whether I'm making some sense in what I'm saying, but
yeah, thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
So summarily, if I understand your answers properly,
Yeah.
you're saying that Krishna is present at all times,
Yeah.
but the only difference is that there are no qualified persons at different times. So in other words, the bad omens and all the negative experiences as a result of the living entities that are present at a particular time, not the absence of Krishna.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. That's very true.
Could we now say that is the reason?
Yes, that when Krishna is not there, when Krishna leaves the planet, he's still available. But the majority of the living entities are not having the requirement to make Krishna manifest. I'm trying to find a verse, but I can't find it. It's a verse that talks about Krishna manifestations. Find it now.
Prabhuji, actually, I had the same question Sri Salika Prabhuji asked, but I didn't want to ask because I felt it was going to take so much time to answer, because it's a lot of intertwining situations in that question, because if all these bad omens are here because Krishna has left, and you also said that the 11 entities in the spiritual world, they're always happy because they are always with Krishna. Meanwhile, when Krishna was on the earth planet, it wasn't everybody who saw him, who was with him, was happy. There were others who saw him and they were actually having
angry,
so much pain than anybody else.
Yes.
So the question is, do we become happy because of Krishna, or do we become happy because of being Krishna conscious? So that is also a very long and winding answers here and there, but I have posted a link in the chat room.
Okay.
It's a very nice class. I listened to Ayendra Prabhu.
Ayendra.
And he gives amazing explanation to the answer you gave to Salika Prabhu's question. Why we chant Hare Krishna mantra, which is not different from Krishna, and do not experience Krishna.
That's
because
right.
In order for us to chant the holy names of the Lord and taste him, we should be on Sudanam.
Sudanam, that's true.
Which most of us are not there yet.
They were not there yet.
Most of us, even if you are lucky, we will say Namabas. Most of us are not even on the level of Namabas. So how do we taste Krishna? But I've shared the link. Devotees may click and listen to him later on.
Okay.
But I think the answer you were given is in line with what I heard Ayendra Prabhu share. That even though it's the same, and that's what makes our philosophy so beautiful. Achintya Veda Abheda Tatu.
That's right, yeah.
It's the same, but at the same time, not the same.
Yeah.
Because the gopis, who is more purer than the gopis? Yet when they lose Krishna, they cry,
Right.
Even though they are Krishna conscious, but they still cry for his absence. And there are others who don't even care whether Krishna is there or not there. And mostly those people become the Mayavabs, which is also offensive because they do not even care about the cause of the bliss they are getting. Because without Krishna, you cannot get the bliss you are getting from the nothingness, so-called to say.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
thank you, Sadi, for the
Wednesday. Everybody should prepare for Wednesday.
That's why I said this is a philosophical question, because it's a broad subject matter.
Yes, that's why I didn't want to.
I think someday we. I was also contemplating, but it's already 2 hours. I think we need to allow His Grace Silvers Vanacari to go rest. He's been on the classes. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So at this point, we humbly going to ask all the devotees to unmute, and then we chant the big Hare Krishna mantra to express our appreciation for Prabhu's presence here and his guidance and his love and his enlightenment. Jai.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Hare Racha Karpata Vyascha Kripa Sambhivasa Vascha Papa Srivyo Vaishnavyo Namaha. His Grace Srivas Vanachari Prabhu ki Jai.
Jai, Shabbat Maharaj ki